Good evening and welcome to News Hour. Coming up in this edition of the news, Judiciary introduces a circular system for the return of case files by magistrates to the Law Officers Department. Newly appointed Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs calls on staff to be committed to work for the improvement of the ministry. Executive members of FAWE have described the appointment of Dr. Christina Thorpe as an addition of strong personality in the development of education, and German doctors to perform plastic and reconstructive surgeries on hundreds of people in Sierra Leone. All these stories, including business and sports, are lined up in this hour. Stay with us. For our first news story this evening, Parliament has approved the third batch of presidential nominees for various positions. The nominees were approved after a vetting process by the Appointments Committee. Mahawa Aliyu reports.
After an extensive
We apologize for that. Health and Sanitation Minister Dr. Abubakar Fofana has said a strong, responsive and functional health system will help detect, control and prevent future public health outbreaks. He was speaking at the launching of the Rapid Laboratory Assessment Report and the Sierra Leone Clinical Laboratory Operating Procedures. Joseph Stanley reports.
The findings of the report provide an insight into existing laboratory capacity and factors that need to be addressed for long-term improvement of the laboratory system. In a joint presentation, the Director of Hospitals and Laboratory Services, Dr. Victor Matlebi, and the Manager National Laboratory Services, Dr. Abdul Kamara, highlighted the strength, weakness and opportunities during the findings and assessment analysis. Dilating on the recommendation, Dr. Abdul Kamara recommended that human resource system for laboratory personnel need to be strengthened, including the provision of high-quality training program for all levels of laboratory staff to enable the country become self-sufficient in generating laboratory personnel at all levels. Launching the laboratory assessment report and the Sierra Leone Clinical Laboratory Operating Procedures, Dr. Abubakar Fofana reiterated that an accurate and reliable diagnosis is the cornerstone of disease prevention, management and control. He says that a functional and effective national laboratory structure and network requires the guidance, support and regulation of a well-laid down policies. The Health Minister disclosed that the document will serve as an essential resource in developing a national laboratory strategic plan that will benefit the health sector and the well-being of the populace.
What we now actually need from this report is 1 action, 2 action, and 3 action. That is action, action, action all the way. Yes, we know it is a rapid assessment, but we believe it is comprehensive enough to give us a good insight of what the gaps are and how we can plug them. A singular honor and privilege to launch the Rapid Laboratory Assessment Report and the Sierra Leone Clinical Laboratory Standard Operating Procedures. Thank you very much.
The Options Country Representative Dr. Mohamed Yila reiterated that together with the Ministry of Health and their partners, they recognized that laboratory services are critical for the delivery of the basic package of essential health services. SLBC News, Joseph Stanley reporting.
The newly appointed Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Sidi Yaya Tunis, has called on staff of the ministry to be committed to work for the improvement of the ministry. Mr. Tunis was speaking as the mantle of the ministry was being handed over to him by the acting minister, Kadi Sise. Ibrahim Samua reports.
In her presentation, the former acting tourism minister, Madam Kadi Sise, catalogued some of the tourism ministry flagship projects that are currently in progress, citing that the National Art Gallery, the National Art Institution, and the Cultural Village, which is under construction to be occupied by the National Dance Troupe. She also spoke of the beautification project of the Lumley Beach, which she said led to the demolition of makeshift structures along the beach and also structure at the Aberdeen Creek by squatters. Madam Sise highlighted challenges facing the tourism ministry, ranging from transportation, logistics, low subventions, water supply, the need for capacity training for staff, and the overlap of functions by other line ministry and that of the tourism ministry.
We cannot perform without supervision. You cannot perform without supervision. You cannot talk about the Loma Mountains there. You put them on papers, with pictures, and you can't go there yourself. The minister cannot go there. If the minister cannot go there, how can he perform? To identify touristic areas, to identify touristic sites, so that will bring development in the country. So the vehicle issue should be a priority to make sure the ministers have good and sound vehicles. The one official vehicle is not enough. It's not enough.
She congratulated the ministers on their appointment and thanked staff for cooperation while serving as Minister of Tourism. The newly appointed Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Sidi Yaya Tunis, lauded Madam Kadi Sise for her strides in rebranding the tourism ministry and assured her that him and his deputy will continue with the good works she has already started. Mr. Tunis told all that although the tourism ministry has been described as a challenging one, but promised to make a turnaround and further strengthen the tourism ministry. He told staff that they were appointed by the president to work and promote the tourism ministry, but warned them to be committed to their work, be punctual, and frown at lateness and backbiting.
I want to assure you that I am not here to reinvent the wheel, rather to put more strength to push the wheel so that we can achieve even more and more than what you have already achieved. It is no competition, but you have set a standard so high that I will not allow myself to go below that standard. And I want to promise you that with the help of God and with my staff, we are going to make this ministry a Class A ministry. To my staff, I heard all the praises you levied on our outgoing minister. You levied those praises because she led well. And I want to assure you that I'm also here to lead. I'm here to work, and I only have time for those who are ready to work.
The outgoing acting Minister of Tourism, Madam Kadi Sise, has been transferred as the Deputy Minister of Works.
Executive members of FAWE have described the appointment of Dr. Christiana Thorpe as an addition of a strong personality in the development of education. FAWE members were seen in the numbers to congratulate Dr. Christiana Thorpe after her approval by Parliament. Unisedin Kagbo reports.
FAWE members and other educationists were at the House of Parliament to share joy with the newly appointed nominee of the President, Dr. Christiana Thorpe, to serve as Deputy Minister of Education 1 in the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology. Dr. Thorpe, who was quoted in Parliament to have accepted the nomination, because she wanted to contribute to rebuild the education sector of the country, was received by her admirers, who were very optimistic that the deputy minister would serve the state well. At a brief ceremony, members of FAWE congratulated the newly appointed deputy minister and assured her of their cooperation.
We're glad for her, and we're glad for ourselves. Because we don't say, any time they say Dr. Top, na FAWE. Any time they say FAWE, na Dr. Top. Na umbrella they cover. So the umbrella will continue for cover. Dr. Top, we appreciate you so much. We will continue for the for we. We pray from one end. Let God will continue wisdom. Let you able to go to the work where the president wants to make you do. We know what you can do. We don't advise you, because I can advise you. Because we know what you can do, and we know how you can do it.
This day, we really glad. It's all we say. Now you know the deputy education minister now. We glad you will say, we can better.
On behalf of the Women's Forum, Christiana, we're so happy for you. We're glad for you. We had a full with joy for you. With the hope and praise, God will give you the strength to carry on with your work as you get passion for Sierra Leone.
A surprise package was then presented to Dr. Top. Dr. Christiana Thorpe disclosed her intention to serve the ministry well, noting that for her, it's a homecoming to a sector she knew well. Dr. Thorpe called on them to join forces with her to develop education in the country.
But I depend on every one of you. Yes. From me there, I will give you support from the back, but I am now in the field for the work. Yes. Whatever needs to be done, we and Sisale from the ministry will go for. Yeah. But if in another one at the field, the football not go play. I'm really surprised. The first shop, this morning while it's time, the lady where they have now will say, he said, we see some people they wear you t-shirts now. I say, Lord, I'm
She noted that her focus will not just be to develop and expand FAWE, but to target and reorg the entire education system in the country.
A private legal practitioner, Mariam Adumbuya, has encouraged women at the Women in Crisis Movement Vocational Center to be focused in life by educating themselves so as to actualize their dreams. The session brought together lawyers, health experts, and designers to share their ideas and stories with women as a way of motivating them. Doreen Kaloko reports.
The inspirational talk to students of Women in Crisis is coming up at a time when women's empowerment is very key to female lawyers who are of the opinion that educating women about their roles and responsibilities will help them understand the value of education. The director of Women in Crisis, Juliana Conte, said that the institution is training women facing health issues on how they can reshape their lives to become self-reliant and be able to be self-employed. She said that they are trained for 2 years and provided with startup kits to start a new life. She commended the female lawyers for their inspirational talks, which she believes will help the women to learn from their experiences. A legal lawyer, Mariam Adumbuya, said that as a lawyer, her passion is to promote human rights issues and provide the enabling environment for young people to be empowered in order for them to reach their goals. She said that gone are the days when women should be left in the dark.
We're just a group of concerned women coming together we've decided to come to talk to the women, to talk to them, educate them, empower them, because in this world today, we're all the same. And as such, we thought it fit to come to Women in Crisis, to talk to them and empower them, explain to them our stories, share their own stories as well, so that we can work together as Sierra Leoneans to ensure that we push Sierra Leone to where we want Sierra Leoneans to go. There is a need for us to educate other women. There is a need for us to collaborate. There is a need for us to work together as a team. And therefore we thought it fit that as a start, we should come to Women in Crisis and talk to these women and girls, so that they too can have what they can take back to their families.
Sonia Osho-Williams, another legal practitioner, described knowledge as power, adding that women should be au fait with issues of national concern. She said that most of the time women are unaware of the rights, which creates room for many advantages against them. Other speakers from the public health, designers and business women said that women's empowerment is very instrumental and vital for them to become successful in life. They spoke about the need for women to be respectful, committed, and be focused to achieve their dreams.
Parliament has approved the third batch of presidential nominees for various positions. The nominees were approved after a vetting process by the Appointments Committee of Parliament. Mahawa Aliyu reports.
After an extensive debate, Parliament ratified the motion for the approval of 7 presidential nominees to serve in respectable and high offices of state. The following nominees were approved: Mamadou Lamine Kagbo, Minister of Finance and Economic Development; Dr. Christiana Top, Deputy Minister of Education, Science and Technology; Dr. Kaifala Mara, Governor, Bank of Sierra Leone; Alfred Paulo Conte, Minister of Internal Affairs; Major General John E. Milton, Chief of Defense Staff of the RSLAF; Isma Binti Darami, Ambassador to the Republic of Guinea; Rugiatu Nene Toure, Deputy Minister of Social Welfare, Gender and Children's Affairs. Members of Parliament on both sides of the House commended President Koroma for nominating a collection of eminent Sierra Leone men and women whom he deemed fit to carry out his agenda for development of the country. MPs also recognized the enviable role played by each of the nominees for the advancement of the country and challenged them to improve the economy, the military, internal security, education and bilateral ties for mutual benefit between Guinea and Sierra Leone. However, the nominees were cautioned to work in harmony with their deputies. The minority leader, Honorable Dr. Bernadette Lahai, referenced the program aired on 98.1 Radio Democracy with a view of trivializing the interviewing process in Parliament. She then edified the public on the process by citing the relevant provision in the 1991 Constitution of Sierra Leone and the standing orders of the House, cognizance of the right, privilege, and immunities in Parliament.
In Parliament, we have procedures. Before we start interviewing, the committee always meets for hours, looked at every applications, forms, interview schedule, look at everybody ministry, and within the light of that, we'll decide how to handle the interview. But it is wrong that Parliament is attacked, especially the committee, as trivializing the interviews. I don't think that is right.
She also underscores that nominees should be provided with the necessary logistics to succeed in their respective offices. Whilst the majority leader, Honorable Ibrahim Bundu, prefaced his intervention by thanking the minority leader for educating the public on the interviewing process in Parliament and the role of Parliament in maintaining peace and unity in the nation.
I would also want to entreat the media to pay
Plan International Sierra Leone has certified 10 youth coaches after concluding a 5-day livelihood training program. The training was geared towards mentoring the trainees on how to become successful entrepreneurs. Kojo Kwofo reports.
The training was described by Plans Program Officer Joseph Kone as rural and illiterate friendly, and engaged youth on how to become entrepreneurs irrespective of their background. Joseph Kone says a master planner based in Plan International Ghana office was brought to Sierra Leone to help identify 10 youth to be trained as coaches. He explained that those selected included staff of Plan International Sierra Leone involved in implementing youth projects, whilst others are from partner organizations supporting Plan implement its youth projects. The training lasted 5 days with a practical exercise done at Bome. Mr. Kone noted that from that practical exercise, they have realized that as youth, they have some responsibilities in identifying what they want to do, pointing out that the youth are expected not to rely on their formal education, as there are lots of their kinds out there with degrees but are not engaged in any formal work. He said the training should help the youths develop and cultivate initiatives or ideas that will be useful in starting up their own businesses. He expressed hope that the youth they are working with in the 5 operational districts of Plan International will be engaged to start business on their own.
We need to identify what we should do.
It's almost a week now. Residents in the central part of Freetown have been scrambling for water. The water shortage has caused citizens to find every other means to fetch water from various sources, including streams, wells, and damaged street pipes for domestic work. SLBC visited some areas in the central part of Freetown to find out where citizens access water to upkeep their homes. Hawa Mosiri went along.
It all started at New Englandville, where SABC met with students attending different schools, trekking from New England to 4th Street in search of water. They say for the past 2 weeks, they have got a single drop of water in their homes, and they have to move as far as Central to get few gallons of water.
Where are you there? New England. New England. Yes. Then you come out New England for where you are for Street Sakila Road. Now pump? Yes. Okay, so now here I turn all day. When I open a talk to now. Okay.
They called on the Goma Valley Water Company to open the taps so that they can get water in their houses. At Al Street, Ali Bangura, a driver, says it is very sad for residents living within the city to go without water in the 21st century. He adds they continue to pay water rates but could not access water for almost a month now.
Mama, very long time. Very long time. We don't stop of water now. Woman, I have a kind of lock your away. That's why we stop, Mama. Look over there to line.
It is even worse in the Bambratan community, as residents in this part of the city have no pipe-borne water but relied on water drilled from the well for years now. Alfred Kanu is the owner of the well. He told SABC that he sells over 300 jelly cans of water at 500 leones a day to residents in Bambratan. He states that the water is being drilled from the well in his compound to the water tanks and finally into the jerry cans for sale. SABC visited the compound to see whether the well is located in his compound.
Is it every night? Every night. Every night. Ready for the morning.
A resident at Frederick Street, Mabinti Mansare, commends Mr. Kanu for the provision of water in their community, as it has taken years now that they do not have access to clean, safe drinking water. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Hawa Mosiri reporting.
Well, that's how we end News Hour for tonight. Here are the main points again. The judiciary has introduced a circular system for the return of case files by magistrates to the Law Officers Department. Newly appointed Minister of Tourism and Cultural Affairs, Sidi Yaya Tunis, have called on staff to be committed to work for the improvement of the ministry. Executive members of the FAWE have described the appointment of Dr. Christiana Thorpe as Education Minister, Deputy Education Minister 1, as an addition of a strong personality in the development of education, and German doctors to perform plastic and reconstructive surgeries on hundreds of patients in Sierra Leone. Well, that's all in this edition of the news podcast live on the SLBC in Freetown. On behalf of news editor Abubakar Bangura, I am Daphne Zainab Kama in Freetown. For more information about the programs, send us an email to contact us at slbc.sl. And in case you missed all or part of our programs at the SLBC, visit our website at www.slbc.sl. Good night and thanks for watching. Up next is Issues in the News.
Hello and welcome to Issues in the News from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. With me, Sheku Smaila. In this edition of Issues in the News, we shall be talking about the acute water shortage in the capital. Well, for almost a week now, residents of the central part of this city have been scrambling for water. The water shortage has caused citizens to find every other means to fetch water from various sources, including streams, wells, and damaged street pipes for domestic work. Well, and to discuss this further, I have here Asmana Soko. Asmana Soko is the chairman for a consortium of civil society organizations and NGOs working on water and sanitation. Actually, they are advocating for every Sierra Leonean to have access to pure drinking water and also to proper sanitation. Well, Mr. Soko is here with me. Welcome to Issues in the News.
Hello, Sheku. Thanks for having me.
Now, Asmana Soko, you are the chairman of WashNet, a consortium of civil society organizations working on water and sanitation. Now, what's your view on this acute water shortage in the capital over the past few days?
Interestingly, Sheku, we just celebrated World Water Day very few weeks from now, where we had the key water utilities and the ministry responsible for water resources nationally being part of the entire commemoration. And as part of what came out very clearly from the commemoration, it was very obvious that the people cannot wait anymore, especially when they have actually suffered too much for accessibility to safe drinking water. And for the case of Freetown, it is really, really abysmal, where, for example, we still have, people actually waking up around 5 a.m. in the morning, in the search for water, and even for sources that are not really certified to be pure. So these are just the normal and abysmal situation currently facing the urban water supply generally. Fortunately enough, we met with the MCC, the Millennium Challenge Corporation, very few days ago. And one thing that came out was that as part of their threshold program is to support the work of Goma Valley in scaling up accessibility to its water infrastructure. But then how is Goma Valley really willing to also bring more of innovation and, of course, scaling up its kind of accessibility to the wider citizenry within the municipality? So for us as civil society, we have really looked at the fact that, and as much as Goma Valley has got its own peculiar challenges, we feel they are very much ill-equipped, to be able to provide the people of Freetown with access to safe drinking water.
Okay, now, Mr. Soko, there has been a perennial problem, especially in the droughts. We always experience this acute water shortage, and in fact, it is serving as a deterrent, as an impediment to quality education in this country. As we know, some of the pupils, children going to school, they will have to stay up late, to just to fetch water, and that is hindering their education. education. What do you have to say about this?
Yes, of course it is obvious. You know, this is like linking the nexus between how is water accessibility building on other social development areas. And if you look, for example, the 24-month delivery program that government has also set itself to, which you are aware of as part of the larger component of the post-Ebola recovery process, looked at how to further accelerate water accessibility in schools. Now you go to those schools, Sheku, it's very much abysmal to tell you that you can go to those schools without water running through those pipes, those water tanks. You know, let alone you talk about, you know, accessibility at the community or household level. You know, Guma Valley has actually conducted their willingness and ability to pay survey, and it came out very clearly that citizens are very much willing to pay for the services, and they have also got the ability to pay for the services through the assessment. And increasingly, we had like 88% of its customer base constituting household consumers. You know, so I mean, if you are having a consumer base that is, you know, way higher than industrial and commercial users, I'm sure you should be paying premium, you know, to those category of consumers. But then the problem now is the commercial and industrial users are contributing way more than how much household consumers that constitute the bulk majority of the Guma Valley consumer base are contributing to its revenue. So this tells you Guma Valley will obviously pay more premium to the industrial and commercial users who are contributing more money to their table.
So in other words, you're saying that Guma Valley is giving a preferential treatment to industrial users.
Of course, they are not even, in fact, they are not really much concerned about citizens having access, you know, to water accessibility within their homes. But then the commercial users and industrial users are contributing very much of Guma Valley.
Also, in as much as they are paying more attention to the commercial or industrial users, but they also lack the capacity.
Of course, they have they very much lack the capacity to ensure they're able to accelerate access to water services for the people of the
But then now, what do you think, you know, moving forward, what do you think should be the way forward out of this very difficult situation?
For me, it's about re-engineering the entire, or overhauling the entire Guma architecture. That, for example, Guma Valley continues to say that, okay, the system was set up for, approximately 500,000 residents, and now the city has grown. But this challenge has been coming out for over 5 decades. Nothing has really changed. So how do we think now Guma Valley can start re-engineering the process, just so that we start, talking about, you know, the real things that are also of priority, you know? So for me, it's about, one, overhauling the entire Guma Valley system and ensuring that the intake facility provides more room, you know, for water storage. And even as that, there has been very much, and serious encroachment around the catchment facilities where people have built all over. So in as much as we are blaming Guma Valley, we will be blaming government for not enforcing the policies, for, the weak policies or the policies that have been there without enforcement. And we also must be, blaming ourselves as citizens who are also constructing houses around those areas.
Because I was just coming to that, Soko. Now, in as much as, yes, we are blaming Guma Valley and the government for not expanding on the facilities of Guma Valley, which has the responsibility to provide water for this capital, but also the manner in which encroachment is taking place. Even the mile 13 Guma Dam is being threatened by encroachers, and we see water catchment areas now occupied by houses, by structures. You know, so what do you think should be done to address this problem?
For me, it's first to create the level of seriousness to be able to address the issues. I'll give you a very ugly situation on World Water Day, where we had a whole minister, after a whole skit was played, you know, that, of course, the skit was around how the search for water is also posing as challenge for our girl children who go in search of it, you know, who in the end get impregnated and then get raped. You know, sadly enough, the minister was like asking if it is Guma Valley that is responsible for impregnating those children, or it's as a result of, you know, Guma Valley's actions that are leading to, pregnancy and all of those. For me, if we are really trying to bring some level of seriousness in the sector, we must not be asking questions of those nature. We must be asking questions that find ways out of the problem, you know. So for us as civil society, we really frown at that, and we feel I mean, any responsible stakeholder whom everybody has actually looked up to cannot be saying such. So we feel it's very much important that we first create the political prioritization and of course ensure that we also have the solutions in mind in as much as the challenges keeps haunting us.
Now, as civil society, your responsibility is to ensure that the citizens are well informed on issues like this, because it affects everybody.
It is.
Water is life. Sure. Without water, we know what will happen to man. So, what have you done as a consortium of civil society organizations to kind of raise awareness among the public? But you should not do ABC and D. If you do ABC and D, these are the repercussions. Like for example, now we are talking about building structures, in catchment areas. And you know what happens there? Acute water shortage.
Sure, of course. In the previous National Wash Review Conference, we had the mayor actually asking civil society to take the lead in terms of ensuring that the much needed information is created. But then civil society alone cannot do it. It also takes the political will to be able to ensure that those people going against the process of protecting the catchment areas are being severely dealt or are being brought to book. But nothing of the sort is happening. It's like you going out to create the level of awareness is also helping to endanger your life. So what we need now is, for example, to be able to, in as much as we are supporting government in ensuring that we have a robust sector that is also addressing the current and growing challenges, we also have a system that is also bringing culprits to book, because we still have people cutting the pipes because according to them they feel that water is not just running through their household pipes. But we feel if Buma Valley is also providing some level of very serious leadership of the process backed with the Ministry of Water Resources, I'm sure we'll be able to make inroads. But for as long as we are unable and we feel overlooking the very problems that keeps haunting us, we'll be actually going nowhere in terms of solving the abysmal water shortage in the municipality.
Okay, I must say thank you so much. He is Ansumana Soko, the chairman of WashNet. Well, WashNet is actually a consortium of civil society organizations on water. Well, Mr. Soko has just been talking about the acute water shortage in the capital. For the past few days now, Fritonians have been complaining about acute water shortage. Well, it has been issues in the news, which came to you from the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation with me, Sheku Sumaila. Thank you so much.